Okay, hi guys, and welcome to another video. Today we've got something slightly different. In fact, it should maybe be going up over this week. I'm hoping to get about 4 videos out of this. We're going to be looking at a mini dungeon that exists in Guild Wars 2 called the Font of Rhand, and specifically how to get to it, because in the last beta weekend event, I didn't do that much honestly, but I spent a lot of time fiddling around with this and figuring out all the quirks and cool stuff about this dungeon, and I thought it'd be really cool to show it to you guys because we haven't had a really very good coverage of it so far. In all the beta stuff. So I'm joined at the moment with GuildwarsBuddy. Say hi, GuildwarsBuddy.
Hey everybody, GuildwarsBuddy here.
Yeah, so he's going to be coming through with us. We're going to be talking about it all. Something to know about you. You haven't really even played the beta yet, have you?
No, I haven't. I've not played the beta at all.
And why exactly is that?
Oh, I want the game experience all at once. I don't want to have to bring a character up and then have to stop for a month.
Which is fair enough. So, but you are a big fan, obviously. I mean, you're called GuildwarsBuddy.
Yes, huge fan. I loved Guild Wars 1, made tutorial videos, etc.
Okay. All right, cool. So basically, we're pretty good friends, and we're just going to talk through it, and he might have some questions about exactly what's going on. It's a good excuse to talk about some of the mechanics. So in a minute, we'll take a cut, and we will cut straight into how all of this begins, how you can actually gain access to this dungeon, and we'll take it from there. So really, this is how it all starts off. The mini dungeon itself, you don't actually have full access to the whole time in the world, and I don't really open up the map and show it very clearly. But you simply cannot get in there without a meta event chain being pushed to a certain length. So do you know very much about meta events, GuildwarsBuddy?
No, I don't know anything about meta events.
Okay, do you know a lot about just regular events and how they work?
Not really, no. Right now I'm just watching you run around like a crazy person. You fast forwarded.
Yeah, well, at the moment, what I did was I sped it up because we started and this meta event began, and we realised we were in the wrong place. So basically, the game obviously replaces quests now. There's no traditional quests. Instead, there are just these big events that happen that affect the world in some way, and then you have to either help the event and actually complete the event and save the people of a village or whatever, or if you fail, it could actually be destroyed. So in this case, we're playing through a single event, which is where these guys, the Flame Legion, have come and attacked this place, Blood Sawmill, which isn't always under attack, obviously, in the world. So you can see them all running around here and killing people. And
well, that was fairly cheap of you there. I was watching you hammer that guy, and then you decided, no, backed out and shot him with a rifle a whole bunch of times.
Yeah, well, I love swapping the weapons in the game. It's the hammer and the rifle. You'll probably see, I think all of this footage is just me using hammer and rifle, and it's so fun. I just love swapping through them. Yeah, see, Earthshaker.
There's that leap attack there.
Yeah, that's my adrenaline skill, which I can get from kind of maxing out my adrenaline.
What was that shield I just saw break on the screen real quick when you did an attack? I'm guessing it's a condition?
Maybe. I'm not sure I noticed that. It could have been a condition. You'll have to point out if it appears again. It might be just like an animation from one of my skills, maybe. But in any case, so this is one of the events, and the way this works is, in the game, you don't have just events which affect small areas like, say, this is right now. You also have these things called meta events, which are collections of lots and lots of events. So say we're successful in loads of events in this area of the world, we will actually affect the area at large, and this will push the meta event in our favour. So for this example here, to get into this dungeon, we need to push all of these certain events that are part of this meta event to a point where the Flame Legion are completely pushed back and they can no longer attack anyone in the area. So at the moment they have presence, right? As you can see, they're attacking the guys here at Blood Sawmill, and we're actually on the back leg. We're defending at the moment. Well, it's our goal really, and what we're going to be doing for these next about 20 minutes or so is seeing all of the events that make up the meta event to push the Flame Legion back. Which should be pretty cool, and then we'll see how it goes from beyond there. But yeah, what do you think of this event so far?
Well, so far, there's a lot of defense going on. Your health kind of low right now. You're leaping around with your hammer.
As you do.
I've seen a few floating weapons attacking people here and there, but it's a bit of a clusterfuck. It's trying to look at the interface and figure out what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, I found that a lot in competitive PvP, and just 5v5 PvP, which I also spent, it was really the only other thing I did this weekend. It is very hard at the start. You can get quite overwhelmed by a lot of the effects that are happening in the area, but once you know what's going on, for example, those floating weapons you just talked about, that's like Guardian weapons, it does kind of all melt into place after a little while. But I can, especially in larger events like you'll see us doing here, it's pretty nuts. I can imagine what exactly that looked like to you. But yeah, we were defending these guys, and now that we've saved them, what it's done is unlocked some events with some char in the area. These guys from this warband have basically decided that they've had enough, and they want to fight back against the Flame Legion. So what happens at this point is you get a 3-way split, where there are 3 different events for you to go off and complete. And once you've completed them all, you can essentially unite the strength of this warband, and they'll go off and attack the Flame Legion. So that there, you just saw we completed that. Sorry, what were you going to say?
Yeah. Well, right now I'm curious. Are you left clicking? Like, what's your main attack here?
My main attack is skill 1, which if you just activate skill 1, it will just cycle through and continuously do it. So you only actually have to use it once while there's an enemy in the area. But at the moment I actually use a Razor Naga, so I never really have to skill click or anything. I can just use the buttons on the side of the mouse, which is pretty cool. I've got to say, not an endorsement necessarily for them, but it is very helpful, I found, with Guild Wars 2, because your WAS and D keys, if you're constantly using skill 1 but you want to be moving around all the time, which Guild Wars 2 enables you to do, it's actually a bit of a pain because you're constantly moving your fingers around in an annoying way. So that's quite nice.
But I'm curious, this guy here that's the part of the quest, he went down and you brought him back up. Is that what I just saw?
Maybe, yeah. So basically any NPCs can die around here. They certainly can, whoever it is, and if you just go over, everyone has the ability to resurrect one another, which is a very nice feature of Guild Wars 2. So you can do that not just with other players but NPCs as well. And in fact, one of the main ways that events get stalled and stuff in this game is that an NPC will die, and obviously they can't bring themselves back to life by like teleporting to a waypoint, which is typically what players will do. So that just stalls the world pretty much until someone goes and helps and saves people. So like if those Flame Legion...
That's more of an Eye of the North mechanic than it is the traditional factions, let's say, mechanic. Because when Memelo dies, let's say in factions, that quest is done. It's over. You start. In Eye of the North, they introduce this thing where, at least they come back to life. So here, it looks like at least you don't instantly fail if they die, if you're out of position. Yeah,
no, exactly. Yeah, you don't instantly fail. I really liked that about... It was so annoying going back on Guild Wars 1 to some of the earlier stuff in the earlier campaigns and being like, oh, right, okay, now I'm going to go play with Rurik, or you were constantly in those missions with NPCs that would just, if they died, you'd get kicked out, and it was so hard after you went to Eye of the North, well, I found it anyway, so annoying that you got used to them just being able to die and come back, and then in those earlier ones, they were so much more unforgiving. And yeah, that kind of happens here too. You can just bring anyone back to life. But it's like, if that place, Bloodsaw Mill, was attacked just now and actually overrun, it would just stay like that. Or I'm not sure if the Flame Legion then would push on to other areas. I think they might do, but because we stopped them there just as this meta event chain essentially started, that never happened. But yeah, until someone went there and resurrected all the people, you couldn't kick them back out. But it does mean that obviously these NPCs are never going to be permanently dead. It's not like we could be doing this event with this guy here who's looking for these Devour Eggs and then eventually turn around and he might die, and in a week and no other players would ever be able to do it. That would kind of suck. So yeah, you can bring people back to life, which is good enough, I guess. This event's pretty easy, really. You've just got to kill a few Devourers that come along. It's really quite long for not much reason, though. If you can see up in the top right, it might be a little bit unclear. It
says 4 out of 5. And right now he's examining the 5th one, so I'm guessing this is going to end this quest. There you go.
Yeah.
So why were we collecting Devourer nests? Why were we examining these nests?
Well, I can't fully remember anymore, but basically this guy is a member of this warband. They were attacked at the Bloodsaw Mill, and then they all decided, right, we want to fight the Flame Legion. But a few members of this warband decided that they had other more important things to do, and I believe his pet, who he calls Gur every time, by the way, died. His Devourer died in the assault or something, so he decides he wants to go and get another one. So you help him get that egg, search through the eggs, and he puts it in that incubation kit, as you just saw, and that actually will eventually become another pet for him.
Did you just kill the bunny?
Yes.
What did you just kill?
Yeah.
Just randomly just kill it. How much damage did you do to that? Like 300 something?
Yeah, 3,000 was it?
The thing is,
with the little critters, it's really easy to kill them because I think you actually get achievements for it as well, which is pretty great. So I don't know, it's just something about me that, especially when I've got the rifle and you've got really good range and you can attack them all, it's so easy to just go and kill all the little things in the forest.
That's just mean.
Yeah, well, you'll do it as well. I promise you'll do it as well. Everyone will do it, I promise. So yeah, basically we helped this guy. We've now helped 2 of the members. That first guy was pretty much just sat there saying, "Oh no, I'm too good for you all. I'm not going to go and fight the Flame Legion. I'm too good for you." And then you go off and you fight him and beat him down, basically. The third guy sadly bugged out for us when we first played. So you saw that huge group we were with? That was with like a whole bunch of us from like, you know, me, you, we've got Mike and that. We were all playing together, but it bugged out. So we actually had to swap servers. And not everyone came over on the server swap. So you'll see from the footage here now, a lot of us split up. But we did manage to find a server where it wasn't bugging out, replayed through all of it, and got to this next one. This guy here that we're playing with now, he's in charge of rebuilding the place that we were defending earlier. So you saw it was a bit of a dump, right? Yeah, when we were fighting in there, it was all a bit of a wreck. He needs scrap to actually repair that place. So even though we've saved it, it's still a complete wreck. It didn't just magically fix itself. So you actually see something pretty cool here, where we help him get his scrap, and you'll see him go off and repair the place, which I think is, you know, when you hear about... how much had you heard about dynamic events, really, before? I mean, I'm assuming...
just the basic stuff that came out, like, ages ago that was saying how, you know, if there's centaurs randomly attacking a village and you don't stop them... See, the shield came up again. And you don't help...
again.
And you don't stop them from attacking that village will be destroyed, and it'll be permanently destroyed for, you know, X amount of time. That was all I had heard. That was the only mention I heard really of dynamic events. So now you're saying that, you know, also if you save a place, you'll be able to repair it and it'll become bigger?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the main thing to think about with dynamic events is that a place won't be destroyed and then permanently destroyed. They can't just have... Oh, by the way, I'm just typing here because we were desperately trying to arrange everything.
Work for you.
Yeah. So, but basically what we had with dynamic events is that you can't just have something destroyed and it will always be destroyed. So they do always cycle back through. So if something's blown up, there's usually a way to fix it as well. And I quite like this event here, or at least this event in combination with what we saw at the start with the Flame Legion breaking into Bloodsaw Mill, because you actually do get to see the combination of both happen. You get to see it be repaired and then destroyed and then repaired and destroyed, which is kind of how it goes. It keeps going backwards and forth over a long period of time. So yeah,
what's a long period of time? What do you mean by a long period of time?
Well, it depends. One of my main problems with the beta at the moment is, and I don't know whether it's just because it's the beta, it's not long enough period of time. The developers always like make this quote. They always say you don't have a permanent impact on the world, because to have a permanent impact, you'd run out of content for other players that came along, right? So that's like what single player games do. You can play a single player game, like an entire city will get destroyed, and that's fine. But like in MMOs, they can never do that because there's going to be another player that comes along eventually, and they need the city to be there to destroy it themselves. So the developers pretty much say that you don't make permanent changes on the world in the actual overall world. In the personal story, you might make personal changes, but here you make persistent ones that just last a short period of time. And the question is, what you just said, how long does that last? How long is it for it to really feel like you've had an impact and that you actually feel like you've been the hero of the area? And how long is too short as well? And I honestly feel like it's too short at the moment. I really do, because like you could do something, especially in some of the earlier starting areas, and then walk away, and then honestly a minute or two later come back and you'll see the exact same event coming back through, and it's like, what the hell, I just saved you and now you're being attacked again. I was just told that all these people were destroyed forevermore, which does suck a little bit. But I think there's a part of it that might be just because it's beta. Obviously these are the kind of things that hopefully ArenaNet are looking at to try and fix for themselves, so that when the game does launch it will be better. But it's something to keep an eye out.
So here I just saw you rally. Well, you died kind of lamely because, you know,
yes.
I don't know if it's because you weren't paying attention to the screen there and missed a few skills, and
a lot of the times
keep typing.
Yeah,
you know. And also you leveled up from 22 to 23, so shouldn't you have spent some skills, or is that not how that works?
Yeah, no, that's a good point. You do get trait points to... you don't necessarily level up skills or anything, but you get traits, these trait lines which you can put attributes in, which I don't know whether I actually do on the video. You might see me do it later. Honestly, though, I feel like it's quite minimal every time you level up to put that little extra bit in the trait point, and I did often forget about it, which I'm sure people will rage about, but whatever. You will see me messing stuff up, especially here early while I'm trying to get everybody into position and stuff. Really, it was pretty bad footage, but just I know you're already aware of this, but just for everyone who's watching this to be aware, this is pieced together from about 5 different runs or so, trying to get all the best, most choice stuff. So every now and then, I think this is the worst of it, when I'm just standing around trying to type and get everything sorted out. Like there, you can see me in chat being like, oh, I have to cut it all out, but I couldn't be bothered. But shh about that. We
This looks so weird. We're in Ascalon. Clearly, from the color scheme, I can tell about where we are. But what's with the chimneys? So this is near the Char cities.
Well,
just from the aesthetic.
Yeah, this is north of the wall. This is, if you were to put it into Guild Wars 1 terms, I suppose kind of near where the Ruins of Sirmia mission was, dare I say, somewhere around there, maybe up north of it. Which is, if you remember, where you were getting all the prisoners from and stuff. Which is kind of crazy to think about, really, but it's changed so much now. The Char have built, like, really lots of mechanized stuff, so I think it's quite cool, don't you? Like, you can clearly see it's still Ascalon. But it's so different.
Yeah, you can tell from the trees and stuff. But you'd think it would have more of an impact on the nature around it, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, it's funny you
those
say
are
that.
Big chimneys.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, actually. There's a river you can see on the mini-map on the bottom right at the moment. There's like a big lake river there. And the story there is that that's like where most of the Char get a lot of their water from. And there's an event chain in there, which is actually a really cool one, that it's this huge lake. It is pretty damn big. It's like the size of an explorable area in Guild Wars 1 kind of thing. Maybe a bit smaller than that, but it's quite big. And there's actually an event chain there that if you let this place get captured, the entire thing will turn to tar, where the Flame Legion come and attack it. Do you remember in Guild Wars 1 where everything turned to tar after the searing? They pretty much do that, and it's pretty cool. So you're like saying, oh, the impact on the environment because of the Char. It is pretty wide sweeping, but only at certain times. That was one of my most favourite things, actually, from the beta, actually seeing that. And because it doesn't just turn it to tar, but little flame spouts start coming out of it. There'll be new enemies that appear in the area, like you get these little tar elementals that appear on the banks. It's really, really cool. I've enjoyed probably these northern Char areas more than I've enjoyed anywhere else in the beta.
I have a question though about the scrap metal here on the quest. It says your contribution 19. So if other people are putting it in, my guess is that at this point he needs 20. I can't see the number, but it looks like he needs 20. Would the quest move forward if somebody else gave him 20, or do you have to give him 20 to move forward?
No, well, there you go. See, I've just given him 20, but it hasn't ended. This is kind of weird. This is one of the types of events they do. If it was just me playing and no one else was in the area, it would be probably about 20, or maybe even less than that, maybe 10. I would only have to contribute 10 to finish the event. But the idea is, because there are more people in the area, because they want to contribute to this kind of area quest, this event, basically it's giving everyone else a chance to go and gather their own scrap metal. So the amount you actually need is raised because there are more people in the area, but they never give you a specific number so that you're not put off by the idea of others being around you, which is a bit of a weird one. They need to make sure that obviously I can't just stand in the area raising the number required but not put any effort in myself. I think generally they're quite good at that. It never feels like... I mean, this one in particular, it felt like I was putting in more effort than some other people around, to be perfectly honest.
Clearly, because it looked like you gave him about 15 or something, and... Or you gave 21? Is that the official number?
That's 21 now that I gave him, but the others in the area also gave some in too. I still think I probably gave in the majority, to be honest. In any case, it took quite a while. You'll see after we gave all the stuff, it still waited a minute before the event finished and he ran off.
So you have time to give more stuff if people want to.
Exactly. I mean, imagine if you were Mike, say, the guy playing with us, Bear Grylls, that's Mike. Imagine if you were him and he'd gathered 30 on his own, but he'd been hoarding them all and he hadn't given them in. If it just suddenly ended, then he'd be pretty pissed off. So it gives him just a minute to run over. But yeah, you'll see now that we've given this guy the scrap, he comes over, there are all these crazy effects that happen. But it does genuinely, if you watch him over there, Foul Knight, you'll see he kneels down, starts hammering away, and it just starts going crazy, and you'll see this sawmill literally starts fixing itself.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah. So it's maybe not the nicest transition, but
but it works. It's fine. But I'm curious about your skills, though. I saw you use, I think it's 4 and 5. The recharge on those looks ridiculous.
Yeah, so 4 and 5 on the left of your health bar, those ones dictated by your weapon. Those, generally the way it's structured is it goes longer, the further across the bar it goes, the higher your recharges are. Guild Wars 2 does have a lot longer cooldowns on abilities than Guild Wars 1 had. And I think that's because they're trying to make certain skills feel like they have a lot more impact, but obviously to balance that, they're trying to up the recharge too. It used to be a lot worse than it is now. You'll see it's still locked for me. That last slot, that little one that's locked, that's your elite skill, which you only get at level 30. I'm only 23 at the moment in this footage. And the elite skills used to have ridiculous recharges on them. Generally, it feels pretty good though. because you're just making sure that you actually use the ability at the right time. 4 and 5 are really cool on the hammer because they've just got so much control. You'll knock people about and stun whoever you want and stuff. It is quite nice. I wouldn't say those are some of my most annoying skills that I found that had too long of a recharge, but it is something to consider. Anyway, so once we fixed the Bloodstorm Mill and seen that guy fix all the stuff, which is very cool. What we were doing, by the way, because this was loads of different runs, at one point we split the team up. So I went off and did all the scrap metal while the others did the Devourer Egg and stuff. So we finished it really quickly. It was quite a cool way of playing it, because that guy takes a while to fix up the Bloodstorm Mill, even though the event's finished. But once everyone's together now, the warband decides, right, we're going to go for it. We're going to actually attack the Flame Legion. They've screwed with us too much. So you now embark. You can see we're on another event up in the top right-hand corner to defend these guys from the Flame Legion that will pop out of nowhere, from just absolutely nowhere, like drop down from the trees or hiding behind rocks or whatever.
Yeah. I love factions.
Yeah, pretty much, or like the Amphar dropping down in the city and stuff like that. They'll come out, start barreling at us while we push into their territory. I don't think I've still not really shown the world map at the moment, but what we're doing here is going up into the very most northeasterly area really you can get to in Ascalon. Well, yeah, in the entire beta at the moment. Once the game's out, there's actually areas you can go further past this, but for the moment we're limited here. So we're going to really the extremes of the map. You can see I'm fighting level 25 guys, despite the fact I'm only level 23. Yeah, so you've got to be careful of that. I mean, the thing is, at the moment, I think, how many people have we got here? We've got four players, and then the 4 members of the warband too, which is pretty decent. I don't think we have run into much trouble on this specific run, but later on you'll see we've only got about 3 guys with us, and it does get a little bit dangerous when you're slightly under-leveled, which is obviously a bit of a problem at the moment with everyone being in the beta. I mean, that was an issue.
Here I'm seeing that the hammer's doing area of effect damage.
Yeah.
You seem to be hitting it. When you're hitting it, it looks just your standard attack seems to be more like a scythe for the dervish.
Yeah, actually, that's probably a pretty good way of doing it. I'm not sure, honestly. There we go, killing a nice little... Because it was a snake that time, do you mind now? But yeah, I think next, comparing it to the scythe is pretty good. I don't think all melee weapons just have that AoE on the physical attack, but I know a few of them do. The hammer's just generally really fun because you've got like that AoE component to a lot of the skills and a lot of the abilities on it, but at the same time you've got lots of stuns and things that can allow you to do kind of really pack a punch to individuals. So it's quite a cool weapon in the way that no matter what the situation is, you can do something pretty effective. If there's loads of people around you, you can focus on getting the AoE out, or if it's just one guy like this person here, guy. I'm hoping I'll probably try and stun him or something.
Is this a boss?
No, he's just a Flame Legion guy who's roasting me with his flamethrower. Oh god. I think I'd die here actually.
Go round.
I do.
Go round.
He sets me on fire. Yeah.
Oh.
But Mike was pretty good. He got to me straight away and he helped me back up. Yeah, so I learnt pretty... I think that was the first time I'd really gone up against one of those guys, and I realised very quickly, oh my god, you need to get the hell out of the flamethrowers. So now we're up in this area. You'll see on the minimap right now there's an icon just behind me. That's a waypoint, and it's locked at the moment because for the longest time you'll see it's about to unlock because we're going into territory controlled by the Flame Legion. Now if we complete this event we're now on with these guys, we can unlock that waypoint for use, which is a really interesting idea that's going on in the PvE stuff at the moment. So this is a really good reason for going to and completing these events because it can allow you to move around the map a lot faster. You can teleport about, which is a really cool concept, I think, and it's quite nice. You'll see it's locked until we complete this event. So this is the Flame Legion area. Very cozy. What do you think?
So far, it's nice. I like the particle effect. I'm trying to... Because you're going uphill, right? So my vision's kind of limited.
Yeah.
It reminds me of the Burning Forest. It reminds me of... well, in Cathedral Flames, but also in the... what's the name of it? Top right-hand corner. No, bottom right-hand corner in Eye of the North.
Yeah, that's the Burning Forest. I know what you're talking about. Oh, in Sacknoth Valley, I think that's... Do you just mean the explorable area?
Yes, Sacknoth Valley, yeah.
Yeah.
This kind of particle effect, everything being on fire.
Yeah, it's really cool, and that that was activities in Guild Wars 1. This area, if you're familiar with it, was actually brought about by the effects of the Flame Legion 2, which is kind of cool here. So that's basically what they've done again. They still exist in the story, and the idea here is that this is kind of their stronghold. This is like their base, not necessarily the entire world, but in this general area, this is where they're attacking from. And what we've managed to do from this meta event is actually push right into them. Obviously, you could come to this area without the event going on. You could come up here and just fight them if you wanted. It's just you would never be able to clear them completely out and like remove their presence from the world kind of thing. You'd need the help of this warband that's come with you. You can see the event. This is quite a nice meta event chain as well, I think, because it gives you a taste of all the different types of events. We started off with a defense one. We had one escorting a guy. We had one fighting a boss, that really powerful char. We had one collecting things. It's pretty cool. Did you just see a cut there?
Yeah, I did. Now you seem to have a dagger or something. What's going on?
Yeah, no, I've picked up a volcanic rock. That cut was basically that first run you just saw me playing. Completely failed. Totally and utterly failed from that point. The Flame Legion came back and just kicked our asses. It was terrible. It was really, really bad. So basically, a few hours later, after we tried the dungeon in that run and all that, and it all failed, I came back with just 3 of us now. Now, these 3 people you're seeing me playing, oh, these 2 people I'm playing with, we're the ones that are going to go through the dungeon until the very end now. So get to know these guys. I think it was actually nice doing this run like this because the screen doesn't get too clustered. You can actually see what these guys are doing. So you've got Gimli there. He's a thief, and you've got an elementalist here as well, elementalist Nox, which is quite cool. So you can kind of get a taste of their abilities as well as me as the warrior here, which is going to be quite cool.
So now you're joining their party. So you're basically teaming up with them?
Yeah, I mean, you can play Guild Wars 2 without being necessarily in a party with the people that are around you. It's not actually that important. It's more for communication in this game. It doesn't mean you share loot or anything like that, because that all happens automatically. It's just, it helps you to see on the mini-map. They'll appear as blue dots on the mini-map for you, and it helps you to communicate with them. You can draw on the map and ping and stuff like that. That's really what it's quite handy for, which is pretty nice. But yeah, I mean, we didn't necessarily have to team up with them, not at all. We could have just ran around with each other, but hey, once again, it's me kind of just managing the party and making sure everything runs smoothly.
And who are you bringing up now?
So that's basically one of the NPCs. How this type of event works here is this is where we're capturing a location. In order to capture it, you need an NPC alive in the area and no enemies to be in this ring. So can you see how it's a blue ring at the moment? If there's too many enemies, I think, or just a couple of enemies within that blue ring, it will turn red. And can you see the progress bar in the top right that's slowly raising?
Yeah, the lower, I can't read the rest, Duo Templum or something?
Yeah, Incendio Templum, that's the name of the area we're at the moment. So, Incendio, sorry, Templum. So yeah, basically what we're trying to do is capture here. This event consists of capturing the upper area, which you saw us do first, and now capturing the lower area, which is this kind of big ring that you have to run around and keep fighting the Flame Legion off of it, and bring in your friends back up. And that guy did not roast me with the flamethrower. So thank God for that.
Wouldn't it be easier to stay with the NPCs though?
Yeah, well, you could stay with the NPCs, but the thing is, if you're with the NPCs and on the other side, some char like walk in and you haven't noticed them, they'll still stop it anyway. But there you go, we actually complete the event, and it changes the area pretty significantly. So imagine in Guild Wars 1, if you could stop the burning forest from being a burning forest.
Oh, look at that. Yeah, I see, yeah.
Yeah, which is pretty cool, and you'll see all the effects do turn off. And you pretty much own it. Look on the bottom right hand corner, you can see that the waypoint is now available to us, and we've basically completed the meta event chain at this point.
And now there's an arrow pointing to the top right hand corner.
Yeah.
That I see.
So there's a lot of meta events in the game, but not all of them necessarily unlock something for you. This meta event chain in particular, the story goes that the leader of the Flame Legion, in this area at least, has fled to a dungeon nearby, the catacombs of some old Ascalonian humans. It's not necessarily the catacombs you know from Guild Wars 1, it's a different place. It's called the Font of Rhand, and he's fled off to there and opened a portal, and you can chase him through it. Okay guys, I'm going to cut it right there just as we enter the dungeon. I'm going to be nice and cruel to you all, and we'll continue on with this tomorrow, where we get to see actually inside the Font of Rhand. It's a really cool little mini dungeon. I do know that there have been a few videos here and there on YouTube of it, but no one's actually sat down and shown exactly how to get in there and everything that's going on once you're inside. So yeah, that should be up tomorrow. I hope you guys enjoyed this first part. I hope you enjoyed my little bit of a discussion about the game in general, as well as this dungeon with GuildwarsBuddy. Again, you'll find a link in the description down below for him, and I'll see you tomorrow for the second part of 2. See you there.